Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and or girls, to another edition of Fantasy Football Hostility. I am your host, Greg Romero Wilson, and I'm here once again. We did a draft special, I think 2 years ago. The brilliant comedian, great friend, and of course, current semifinalist, and hopefully soon to be finalist.
Gonna happen.
On America's Got Talent. My good buddy, Mr. Kabir Singh, everybody. Kabir Singh.
How's it going, Greg? It is a pleasure seeing you, my friend. Always a pleasure. Come on.
I'm excited because, listen, a lot of times comedians talk fantasy football, but, I think I'm into it. I'm like, so these are the things I want to talk about. And Kabir goes, wait a minute. I have my own rankings that because I'll compare rankings between the different sites, between the NFL app and the ESPN app and then the Yahoo app. And that's where you see that there's a lot of variation between these rankings. You actually go through, and how many players do you rank?
I do about 200. So what happens is this goes hand in hand with me sports betting, right? Because I take NFL sports betting really seriously. So I actually power rank pretty much all the starters on every team, and I have my own spreads. So I have a power. I know I'm going to send that to you so you can put it on the website and stuff like that. But I power rank all the teams. So it's easier to do it. I can kind of do it at the same time. It takes about half a month, and I kind of adjust it. It's more for gambling, sports betting and stuff like that. But, it does relate to fantasy football as well.
Absolutely, it does. That's amazing, man. And it's so funny because we were talking about sports betting, and I'm a shoot from the hip, go from the gut kind of guy. I don't spend a lot of time looking at the numbers. And you're like, you don't track your bets? And then I showed you my parlay, and you're like, I think Dallas is going to get killed tonight. And then they did. And I was like, son of... I'm always playing the emotional angle more than the statistical angle.
Yeah, it just depends on how much money you're going to bet on a game. Like, I'll bet on like $50 on a game just because it's on. But generally, when I bet more than like two, like between 3 and 5, I have my own numbers every week. And if they're not like connected, if one's off by like 2 or 3 points, I usually pounce on it. But I do I actually like the Cowboys this year. I think they're going to be fine
Thank you, my brilliant Dallas Cowboys. Anyone who pays attention to this show knows I'm a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. I went up to training camp twice. Because I grew up in Dallas. It's not like I'm one. There's strangely people that I have 2 friends from Jersey that probably because the Jets mostly sucked for them growing up and the Cowboys were really good. And so that's probably why they're huge Dallas Cowboy fans.
Yeah. I mean, I got a lot of friends that are massive Cowboy fans, and, it's just, it's a cult.
It is. It's a beautiful, beautiful cult. Number 1 most valuable sports franchise in the world.
Yeah. As long as Dak stays healthy, I'm telling you, man, it's going to be, Washington. I don't know.
Dallas still has big time questions on defense, which helps for the offense in terms of scoring fantasy points. It's a good thing that they always have to keep scoring, but it would be nice if they also won those games. And at least this year, I think I have a lot more faith in Dan Quinn as the coordinator, and they at least went out and just drafted a ton of young guys. And this thing, there's no way it gels before week 6.
Yeah. And you guys are getting thrown to the wolves against Tampa Bay week 1. But I will say one thing that I'm taking: if it goes up to 8.5, I'm all over Tampa. I'm all over the Dallas Cowboys.
And I'm with you on that count, because here's the other thing: people forget this. Brady tends to come out cold in the seasons after he's won a Super Bowl. He loses that opening game, I think, 3 times out of 4. Now the Cowboys tend to surprise when they're absolutely supposed to lose. When they're supposed to win, they lose. But when they're supposed to lose, they can miraculously. So yes, with the spread, I 1,000% agree with that.
Yeah. So let's just go up 1 more point, and I'll probably slam it. It's gonna happen.
I love it. You just send me what you're doing. I'll just do it all day. No, I wish I could. I'm glad I don't. Because it could be like I need another addiction. Let's be honest. Okay. By the way, you look fresh. Your hair looks really good.
Thank you. I finally slept for 2 days.
There you go. It works out. It's amazing what rest can do for you.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Let's talk about who you think. You have your sheets. Right now who you think is the real number 1, because the popular choice across all the apps right now is, of course, Christian McCaffrey.
Right. So I love the question. Look, I think Christian McCaffrey is going to be amazing. I just can never, ever, I'm always worried about these people coming off injuries.
Yes.
I know what I'm going to get from Derrick Henry all day. He's going to get the ball.
Thank you.
Julio Jones is going to be very helpful. I could see him get 20 touchdowns, to be honest. But I'm just saying that I think that with the addition of Julio Jones, and I feel like they're going to be able to balance it out a little bit more so they don't have to stack the box. Listen, it's your number one pick. I mean, do you want to go with somebody that has? I mean, how many games has Derek has it even missed? I mean, the guy barely.
Exactly. Durability is the question that everyone's leaving out of this.
He's a workhorse. He has another running back behind him that actually can share the load a little bit here and there. So I don't know, man. Christian McCaffrey. Hey, listen, PPR Christian is a stud. If he has a regular season like he usually does, it could be insane. But I'm not picking I'm not going to take my number one pick on him. I'm going to go with Derrick Henry.
Thank you. Oh my God. I can't believe out of the gate, we are in total agreement because to me, availability is your greatest ability. And the guy who's, first of all, he doesn't do a lot of those hard cuts, which is where these guys blow their knees out.
Yep. And the blocking
he doesn't. He kind of drifts one way, then cuts downhill. You're just kind of looking for that opening that cuts. It's not even a hard cut. It's a soft, and then he just explodes, and you got to try and stop him.
Oh,
he's
and
a fucking freight train.
The dude's going to get so many touchdowns, man. People forget a catch here and there. That's 2 points, 6 points, a touchdown.
Oh, so over and over. Absolutely. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised. Again, like you said, with the Julio Jones addition, the way they're going to have to back up. I am high on this offense. It's so funny. It's so funny because I'm not high on Tannehill, even though I should be. I'm just one of those guys I just can't believe in. Right. But this offense, I'm very high on in terms of scoring.
My only worry is that listen, I actually don't think the Titans defense is as bad as people think they do, even though
I agree.
But but I think their offense is potent enough to where even if they give up a lot of points, you don't have to go to a whole different game plan in the middle of the game. So I still think they're going to be running Derrick Henry. I don't see them really being down 21 points at a game and having to disband the run. So I think a lot of people just say, oh, well, the defense sucks. They're going to be behind in games. They're going to run the ball. It's just not the case. Their offense is going to be potent enough to stay. They might lose a lot of games for giving up to 43, but they'll have 38, you know?
Yeah, they never give up on the run. We saw that last year. They are committed to the run because they know he gets stronger as the game goes on.
Absolutely.
To me, Derrick Henry is the absolute, even in PPR, again, exact. But when you look at these guys, Dalvin Cook, injury prone. Christian McCaffrey coming off massive injury. Alvin Kamara, huge question marks as to how that offense is even going to fucking look. You think they're not going to try and stop him and force whichever one of those dopes to throw the ball? That's exactly what they're going to try and do. You know, Jonathan Taylor, committee, Nick Chubb. To me, Nick Chubb is the number 2. Because that guy is consistent as fuck. Even with Kareem Hunt there, that guy does nothing but produce.
I think he's great. I don't have him at 2, but I do like Nick Chubb. He's great. And people always worry about Kareem Hunt, stuff like that. If you look at Nick Chubb, he was still getting the ball a bunch, even when Kareem Hunt was back there. And he's still a goal line guy. Kareem Hunt is just a change of pace guy. Don't think that Kareem Hunt's going to take those touchdowns away from Chubb. It's not this point. Also, the Browns defense is very balanced. They do run the ball a lot. People just think that Baker Mayfield's throwing. He's not a good fantasy football guy. I had him last year, and I thought he was going to be chucking the ball. No, it was Hub and
Chubb. Exactly. Those two guys, they use them both enough to where Chubb is super fantasy viable, and Hunt is also flex worthy, if not even some weeks RB2 worthy.
Exactly. I agree.
So who do you have as the number 2?
My number 2, I listen, even though I said, look, I think the number 1 pick and the number 2 pick are 2 totally different things. Okay. So I got Elliott at 2 only because I think that I know that's a big leap because a lot of people have more 4 or 5, but I think Elliott is going to be a really, really good running back for the Dallas Cowboys this year because I think they're going to make a real stance on running the ball this time because Dak's not 100%. He's not going to be running around throwing the ball a lot. And I think people forget how good Elliott was back in the day. And I think he's had enough time to where I don't think he's going to get injured again. I don't like people coming up directly off the injury like other people.
Totally. I think he just had a down season because of the loss of Dak Prescott. Yeah. And also, no one talks about this, but I think he may have had a little bit of brain fog from the COVID. He had COVID right before the season started, and there were no real treatments for it at all. And I think he may have had a bit of the brain because a lot of people complain. And I mean, if you look at him, he just wasn't himself.
Listen, that offense is going to be one of the most potent offenses in NFL. I'd like a piece of that. Listen, I like Nick Chubb too. I do like it, but I just think talent-wise, Elliott is just a step above. And Kareem Hunt is going to take carries away from him here and there because he didn't have.
That's true. It does happen. It will. That's true.
So if I had the second overall pick, I would
pressure though along the season.
Yeah.
But I get it, and I like that one. And listen, I'm high on Zeke Elliott too this year, and that scares me because he hurt me so bad last season. But I look at him and I'm like, he's perfectly healthy.
But
he's coming off a down season.
It wasn't like he got hurt or something like that, and he's coming off an injury. Nor I thought the whole thing was a mess. The whole thing was a mess last year with Andy Dalton out there. You can't just base it. And now we're talking about if Elliott had a really good season last year, he would be 1 or 2. And listen, I have him as 2. You're going to get him probably 4, 5, or 6. So I'm telling everybody out there that has a chance to grab him in the first 5. You might even get him 4 or 5. The value on him is top notch right now. Those running backs, I personally have him ranked number 2 right now.
Yeah, and he has climbed the ranks over the drafting season. He started out at like 7, 8, and he has slowly drifted up into the 4, 5, 3, 4, 5 conversation.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm still seeing him ADP a lot of these Yahoo drafts at like 5 or 6, which is outrageous. I mean, he's top 3 for sure. Come on.
Now, when you start talking about, I think it's more important than ever to get feature backs in the first 3 rounds because that's all there's not a lot of them.
My theory is absolutely the same. I usually go running back, believe it or not.
It's not a bad idea because it's just so thin. And if you can get feature guys, that's just that has tremendous value in an age of committees.
Yeah.
And when you get into the second round,
right,
there are 2 guys that I think are probably, for me, the highest value, and that's Najee Harris and Antonio Gibson.
Oh, yeah. Listen, Antonio Gibson is going to be fire. I mean, I really like that. I like him a lot. And man, yeah, Harris is up on Pittsburgh, huh?
Yeah.
First of all,
they've made it clear that he's going to be a 3-down back. They've said the words.
Ben is going to be dumping it off to that guy every chance he can, man. If you want to trash all the wide receivers on the Steelers, like, oh, I don't know if Ben has an arm or not. Well, then you should be, every time you take a wide receiver down 2 notches, you got to bring Harris up 2 notches because that's the guy that's going to be catching all those balls. So, I mean, it goes hand in hand. You can't just trash the whole offense over there. I agree with you with that. I think Najee Harris he's getting picked up a little high. I don't know.
Well, again, I think it's because at the back end of that first round draft, it thins out, pretty tremendous.
We're talking 12-team league right here, right?
12-team league, yeah.
Yeah, listen, I still think, look, I'm not a big Austin Eckler guy, but I think people are really sleeping on Clyde Edwards for the Chiefs too. I see him going later because, again, it wasn't like an insanely stellar. I have Clyde over Harris right now, but I do have Antonio Gibson over both of them. So I do like that. I like Antonio too.
But you would say Antonio and
But another thing, Greg, around this time period,
Clyde Edwards.
I love when people start grabbing these wide receivers like DeAndre Hopkins and Diggs and stuff like. You could literally get possibly all 3 of those running backs that we were just discussing somewhere in early, and you could get like 2 of them on the way back. I love that idea because right now, I mean, when you're drafting, look at the sexy names that are like right around there. Calvin Ridley, DK Metcalf.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, people go nuts for these wide receivers. So really, you can't go extremely wrong with any of those 3. Just be patient and nab 2.
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah,
because you go later down. I mean, look, when you start going later down, then you're going to be stuck looking at guys like Josh Jacobs. You're going to be stuck looking at guys like that.
I like Josh Jacobs. I think Darrell Henderson is incredibly overvalued right now. I think people are thinking just because they're saying he's going to be a feature back, that doesn't mean he's going to be good. Everything I've seen about Darrell Henderson is that he's just okay at best.
I understand, but look how great these wide receivers still are in that thing. You could get 2 of the running backs that we're talking about, but look at like Mike Evans, Keenan Allen. I have huge faith in Keenan Allen this year.
Absolutely. Him with Herbert, long as, again, he's injury prone. But last year he stayed on the field pretty well. If he can do whatever he did last season, this season, I think he's gonna crush this season.
Yeah, and look at the guys that you could get him with. That guy, and look, I actually kind of like, honestly, I even kind of like J.K. Dobbins a little bit too, because I think that guy's going to get a lot of carries as well. Because I mean,
but he's looking at a committee situation. I think Gus Edwards is his Kareem Hunt.
But this is my point though, Greg. Like if you could go running back, and even running back, and then still nab up a couple wide receivers.
No, there's still. I agree with that. There's still going to be some really nice.
I got Julio Jones at like 47. I mean, and I think he's overvalued in my ADP because a lot of people have him lower than like Tyler Lockett and shit like that, which is insane to me. But like, Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting. These wide receivers are going to be there. So when it comes to running backs, you should just be nabbing up all those running backs like three. I would go 3 in a row.
You're saying stack 3 deep. I may go with that.
I have won so many leagues going 3 deep, and I have made so many mistakes grabbing two running backs up front, and then me getting tricked into getting somebody like just, I don't know, like again, like a Calvin Ridley or something like that, or back in Julio Jones, where I'll be like, damn, that's a really good, I should probably spread out my roster. Then later on in the draft, I'm going to be sitting there with the most garbage. Remember, we talked about Nick Chubb like 3 years ago. We talked about how much we didn't like him. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was in our last round. All of a sudden. But no, I mean.
But now that I had him last season in our league, and he was the one decent piece that I had.
I know. But, and here's another guy that I want to warn people to go up against, man. People are all over Chris Carson for some reason because they look at the numbers and stuff like that. His carries, do you know how many carries he was averaging a game last year? 10. How that cannot be your running back too. And people are drafting him like a 1 and a 2 because they go crazy on these wide receivers. He's 10 carries, dropped from 18 to 10 in 1 year. Oof. And that's without the backup running back even being like, Rashad Penny is back too. My number one player to stay away from, by the way, I don't know if this is part of the category that you
please do. No, yes, it is now.
I was doing all my research and I could not believe the people. I mean, look, people got Chris Carson at like top 30 and stuff like that overall. I'm telling everybody, I'm a Seahawks fan. I watched that shit. The whole let Wilson cook, let Russell cook. Yeah. Who wasn't cooking? Carson, because he would get the ball because he was throwing the ball around like a psychopath, like all the time. So I'm warning everybody, do not draft Chris Carson no matter what. That is my number one guy, I'm telling you. And that's right below. I don't like DeAndre Swift either. But see, these are the running backs.
I don't like DeAndre Swift either. I don't trust him. All he's shown is he hasn't looked incredible when he plays, and he just shows that he gets knocked out pretty easily.
Exactly. And you think this is Detroit we're talking about, right? You think Goff is going to be in any situation where they need to run the ball to run the game out? No, they're going to be 24 every game, and Swift is not going to be the answer. But see, this is why you have to go running back, because you cannot have any of these running backs as your second running back. And these are a lot of teams RB2s. If you have any of these players, and I'm putting Josh Jacobs in that too. That guy cannot be your running back too either. If he's your flex, I like it. But I'm not a big fan.
See, I feel differently about Josh Jacobs. I mean, I know he had not a great season last year, but when he's healthy, and I believe he is, the guy is talented as fuck. And listen, if it's an Alabama running back, he's probably Trent Richardson was the one that really broke my heart because but generally Alabama running backs are money, baby. I love them.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree. I don't know, man. I just think there's going to be a lot of. I think he's going to split time, right?
Kenyon Drake is there.
Kenyon Drake, that's who I was looking for. Thank you. Kenyon Drake is a pretty good player. I think they're going to be splitting a lot more time.
I think if you do get Josh Jacobs, you absolutely must get the handcuff with Kenyon Drake.
But Kenyon Drake is going off the board not that much further for him, and now you're
he is being drafted in RB2 category.
Yeah, so you can't do that. You can't deal with either one of them because you're going to waste 2 rounds on a potential. It's a little messy over there, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, listen, avoid Chris Carson. Those are my 3 running backs to avoid. Was those
Chris Carson? Wow. So you're saying avoid Josh Jacobs, Chris Carson, and who else? Josh Jacobs, Chris Carson, and
my other guy I just had him on the list. My other guy we didn't talk about, and that was Joe Mixon.
Oh, absolutely. Stay away from Joe. Overvalued every single year.
Every year.
And cannot stay on the field. And when he is, he has 2 flashy plays, and that's it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And listen, and there's in that area, you still got like Myles Gaskin and stuff like that. I have Myles Gaskin rated above all 3 of them, by the way, because I think
Myles Gaskin for me is tough because they've come out and said it's going to be a committee with that Savion guy that they liked at the very end, and the other one that had played between them. And so they've said it's going to be a 3-headed monster. They've made it very clear that's their plan.
That's true.
We'll see how it plays out. I've made the mistake of listening to what these guys say and thinking that's what they're actually going to do. And then they get in there. Like, I don't know about you, but I believe that the Houston Texans are just waiting to get through training camp. And then week 1, they're going to be like, oh yeah, Deshaun Watson's our starter.
Yeah, why not? Well, I've heard nothing that I've heard no charge. I've also heard that Houston there's been no suspension.
Yeah.
I have no clue.
And the NFL they've interviewed about half the women that have brought this case against him. So listen, they know something by now. They either know it's enough, but he's not supposed to talk to them until like February.
But here's my thing. Yeah, I know that's not a problem. And here's a secret, by the way. And this goes to gambling real quick. I bet like a dime on. Okay, do you know the over under for Houston Texans season is 4 wins. 4. I bet a dime on Houston over. I just need Deshaun Watson to play 6 games.
Right.
And if he plays the whole season, that's free money.
Yeah.
It's just free money. And even if he doesn't, all I need is 4 wins. So I'm just telling you, one of my best bets preseason NFL, everybody bets more. It's over Texans win total 4.
Yes, because I believe that, and no one wants to touch Deshaun Watson, even as a QB, and I get that, but you want a sneaky QB too. You grab Deshaun Watson towards he's going either like in the 14th, 15th round or not drafted at all because people have this vibe that he's not going to play. And I think they're trying to act like he's not going to play, have him sit in the shadows, just be over there. We're just going to not talk about you. We're going to act like you don't exist. Then I think week 1, they're going to be like, and here's our starter, Deshaun fucking Watson.
Hey man, if you really truly believe that, you should definitely get on that over 4 total.
I think so.
That's even a safer pick than grabbing
I'm gonna be in Vegas next weekend. I gotta make notes about it. I gotta place all these
over 4 total. You might be able to win that even if he doesn't play. And if he does play, it's just a W, automatic W.
Yeah.
4 wins, Greg.
4 wins out of 17 games.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like that. It's really disrespectful.
Which does bring up another very interesting subject, the running game. Obviously, David Johnson sucked giant donkey dicks. Bro. He's lost it, old as fuck. They bring in Mark Ingram and Phillip Lindsay. And Phillip Lindsay, to me, right here, is one of those, opportunity knocks situation. Him and Mark Ingram. Yeah. You can pick these guys up for a song in the late rounds, and one of them is going to be the major ball carrier.
And I would lean towards, I would lean towards Lindsay, by the way, on that one. I wanted to, yeah. You like Mark Ingram better?
I originally did, but then I switched more towards Ingram, the way they were kind of resting Ingram. So to me, and they were testing Lindsay, I think DJ is going to get, blown out of the water.
I think it's,
oh yeah. God, he was so bad last season.
Yeah, he might be untouchable.
I think it's definitely going to be, and it'll be interesting to kind of follow it a little bit more through preseason, but one of those 2 dudes is going to get an opportunity down there to run the ball.
Yeah, people really. Yeah, I agree. People really need to pay attention to that Houston preseason games because you are going to get a RB2 way later in the round. You just got to figure out which one it is, and you're going to see flags in the preseason. In fact, that's probably one of the most interesting ones because you're going to get a really good volume running back out of one of those guys. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. That's a good one. Houston's the most interesting team to actually watch right now, even though they're like the most garbage one.
Well, it's that whole division is garbage, and so. Yeah. For the most part, except for one team, I think maybe the Titans are in it. Yeah, the Titans are the good team.
I've already slammed Titans to win that division. They're only minus 130.
Oh my God, without question. You want to talk about a lock? Yeah. It is the Titans to win the AFC South because the rest of those motherfuckers suck.
I like them prior to. I bet them 3 different times. Win Colts, even when they had their quarterback still there. What's his name from the Eagles?
Wentz.
And then I just figured that he was going to get injured anyway. I did not know he was going to get injured walking out of the bus to the training camp. I thought that he might have lasted.
See, I thought, you know what? I thought him back with Frank Reich, with good receivers, great running backs, great offensive line. Yeah. I mean, a major upgrade at offensive line. Like literally from the 31st to the 1st. Right. I was like, this could be, this could back to the potential he had.
Well, why isn't he just getting? I don't know why the Colts aren't just. Well, they're probably not good enough. Well, their defense is good and they have a good running game. I don't see why they just don't make a move and try to get another. But you know what? He might still be playing. I'm here. Wentz is probably going to be back in like.
He looks like he's pretty okay. So yeah, I see him coming in week 2.
And then he'll be out again by week 5.
Unfortunately, yes. So, God damn it,
I'm
you're
rooting
so
for
right.
him, though.
Like,
I'm rooting for
I
him.
know, because I can now. He's not an Eagle anymore.
He's not a Philadelphia.
When he was an Eagle, I was like, fuck that motherfucker. I love the
Yeah.
way they just double fuck themselves, getting rid of Foles and keep paying Wentz a bunch of money and then getting rid of Wentz. I was loving it. Just like I loved watching Green Bay twist in the wind this summer. I was like, finally, it's your fucking turn. You
Hey, by the way, though, listen, man, I like that Jones running back over there now that he's back, though.
I like Aaron Jones too, but if you miss out on Aaron Jones, try and grab AJ Dillon, because if he gets hurt, AJ Dillon could be that kind of guy that steals that spotlight.
I have a question for you. I was in a pretty decently, like better than average draft with a couple of my friends recently, and I had the 6th pick, and this guy fell to me. It was because basically all other the running backs. It went running back, all the way to Alvin Kamara. And I swooped on Saquon Barkley at, I think it was 7, actually. Yeah, it was at 7.
Yeah, he's falling. He's at the top of the falling stars list.
I am so okay with Saquon with Barkley at 7. I actually think he will start being decent by. All you need to do is have him pretty good by. I hate when people say when you draft that high, when you get somebody like that, like, oh, you need him for the playoffs. I'm like, idiot, you have to get to the playoffs first. This guy has to be ready to help your team by week 4 at the latest, because you cannot be 0-4, 0-5. And then get this guy back. But I've been reading a lot of reports on this guy. I think he might actually be ready to go by week 1 or 2.
I totally agree. Could not agree more. And I'm hoping he just stays mysterious enough through the draft that people aren't like, oh, he's back. I want people to doubt him. I want him to fall to me. And I agree. If he gets out of the top 5, you got to grab him, because he is number 1 overall talent. Possibly falling to you. If you have to take him over some healthier guys. I would say if Saquon fall to me, I would maybe take him over even I would
take him over Alvin, and I would take him over.
Would you take him over Chubb? I might take him over Chubb, to be honest.
I would take him over Chubb. I just wouldn't take him over Delvin Cook, McCaffrey, Henry, or Elliott. I probably wouldn't do that. I would probably even have I would have Elliott.
Elliott for me with Elliott.
Barkley right here.
Right. I mean, for me, that would be I'd be like, I may go with Saquon. I mean,
I would only go. I would only go with Cowboys because I trust their offense more, but it would be really close. It'd be really close. And plus, you have the injury problem. So I do have Elliott 1 step ahead of him. But I was watching in another draft. I saw people take Tyreek Hill over him, and I saw somebody else take Jonathan Taylor over him.
Yeah.
And took Travis Kelce over him.
Let's talk about Jonathan Taylor, because for me, he's the most overvalued running back in the draft right now
100%.
By a lot.
Yep.
I don't think he's a first-round guy. I think he's down there with J.K. Dobbins at best.
Oh, I would listen. First round, 12, 13, 14. I don't think I would pass on Jonathan, but I have him neck and neck with Antonio Gibson. And I
really no. Antonio Gibson's going to have a far more handle on the actual reps versus he's still. They re-signed Marlon Mack.
Yeah, but Taylor that's true. But Taylor had a really good season.
But Marlon Mack is healthy again,
right?
And Naheem Hines was still getting touches, and he's back as well too. They have made it clear they're going to do what they did last year, and they're going to run that committee at least through the first 10 games of the season.
But would you take a wide receiver over Taylor? I have 2 wide receivers over him, actually, to be honest.
Who do you have?
I hate doing that.
Devonta Adams?
I would take Adams or Hill. I would take Tyreek Hill over him. And
I would too. For me,
I still don't trust that Aaron Rodgers motherfucker, dude. That guy's too weird for me.
Let's talk about Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know.
Because I know MVP season last year, he was on fire. He scored like 30 touchdowns. It was out of control. Now, here's the thing, though, and this is where I get into the psychology of the game more than the numbers.
Right.
Because last year he was angry. They drafted fucking Love. He didn't want to deal with it, so he went out there and showed him some shit.
Right.
Now they've acquiesced to him. They sucked his dick. They gave him a bunch of money. Brought his little buddy back to be on his team. Cobb is Happy Rodgers as good a scorer as angry Rodgers? And to me, the answer is no. What do you think?
Agree. Listen, I'll tell you one thing. I'm with you on that. I love that angle, but I really do not spend a lot of time ranking these quarterbacks. I mean, I could live with a lot of them. I mean, I really do.
No, there really is tremendous depth.
I'm more worried about tight ends than the quarterbacks. And it's not even close.
Now let's talk about that conundrum.
Yeah.
Because everyone's talking about if you can grab Kelce, you have to, because the numerical difference is 100 plus fantasy points between him and the next tight end, which I guess was George Kittle. And you look at that, to me, the conundrum with getting any tight end in the first top of the second round is what it costs you, what you're giving up.
Your running back depth by far.
Right. For him, I rarely see these guys on the championship team.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I really do. I really don't. I think people look, okay, here's an example, right? You know who the 9th best tight end is for me right now, who I would love to go to war with? Logan Thomas, right? That's number 9. Number 9. So if we're talking 12, first of all, I think Robert from the Packers are completely serviceable. I even think your Cowboys guy, Blake, is serviceable. They're all serviceable tight ends. If you stack up on running backs and get a couple good wide receivers before you even look at tight end, you're going to be fine. You have to go up against Travis Kelce, but his running back is going to be some fucking trash that you're going to have completely outnumbered, and the wide receiver is going to take a hit as well. And he's probably the same kind of idiot that also reaches for a quarterback, so his team's fucked already. So, I mean, it's just because if you're reaching for a tight end, you're reaching for a quarterback, and you're retiring. So I don't listen. If you get something in a crazy value, and like people are going crazy with Kyle Pitts right now, listen, he's a rookie. Okay, he's a rookie. I don't know what else to say. He's a rookie, and it's Matt Ryan. And a discussion. So, right, I mean, somebody that I see some
You're
value
1,000% right.
Yeah, and listen, there's guys like Mark Andrews and shit. If he starts dropping hella hard, because listen, Lamar is the only person you can throw to is a tight end. And Mark had a really bad season last year, so he's not going in the top like 5-6 rounds, something like that.
No, he's like 10 or 11th right now.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Oh, you get Mark Andrews at like, really? I thought he was like 8 or 9. But anyway,
maybe. Noah Fant. Yeah, he's a hot commodity. Noah Fant, he's right. He's coming up a little bit, and I like him too. He's definitely in play to have a very good season.
And you know what? Here's a couple sleepers that I like too. In the tight end, there was somebody that I had marked down that I
have one sleeper. That
I would love to hear yours. Go ahead, because I'm still looking for mine.
Okay, while you look for yours, my sleeper, Jared Cook.
Jared,
tremendous ability. He's with Herbert. There's the reports coming out of camp are that the rapport is there, that they're getting that chemistry going. And he is a hugely talented tight end who has never really gotten as many looks as he deserves.
I agree.
And I feel in that offense, he's going to have an opportunity to do some end zone looks, first down stuff, all the short yardage stuff you used to see with the Dallas tight ends. I think Jared Cook's going to get to do a lot of that in this Chargers offense.
Yeah, because
that's my big, and he's going undrafted in a lot of things.
I can't even believe that. That's insane. Jared Cook. I actually have Jared Cook up here somewhere. But yeah, I have him pretty high up there. Wow, that's crazy. Jared Cook is right. Jared Cook is I got him 16 as a tight end.
Think about that. And nobody's talking about him. Nobody.
One guy that's overrated right now is I'm telling you to stay away from Michael Gesicki from the Dolphins.
Yeah, Gesicki. Yeah.
What the hell are they doing? They're drafting him like hell early. But one guy two people that I'm really, really liking right now is both the Patriots tight ends, because you never see, look at Jonnu Smith. I don't know how much he got for like his little, but he got paid this. I mean, Belichick went out and grabbed him and paid him a shitload of money.
Yeah.
And you got Hunter Henry over there, but I love the fact it's going to be kind of like a Rob Gronkowski, Aaron Rodgers kind of thing. I think that especially if it's going to be Cam Newton, it's going to be dump down city. I also love Irv Smith from the Vikings. I think you could definitely have any one of those three and you'll be totally fine.
Well, Hunter Henry's already injured, and I don't like guys. He's injury prone like a motherfucker.
Oh, no.
And
I'm not saying I said do not. I'm not saying draft Hunter Henry, but I think people are worried because they're drafting Jonnu and they're worried about Hunter Henry. It's not going to be the case. Even if they're both healthy up there, Jonnu Smith is going to get the majority of the touches.
Yeah, I like Jonnu Smith a lot because of that. I think even if Hunter Henry's there, I think Jonnu Smith is going to have that chemistry. I think it's going to be Mac Jones is the quarterback. I think Mac Jones is far. Cam Newton he ain't got it no more. I don't know what happened, but he ain't got it.
He didn't have it when he was in Carolina either. That guy is a rough watch, man. He's lost me so much money betting on that asshole. I can't even believe it. He was my number one. Oh,
he was so hot when he first came out. He could do it all, and MVP season, and the guy had it. Now, a guy that I think a lot of people are afraid of, but he looks like he's going to be okay. Amari Cooper.
I think Amari Cooper's totally fine. I have no problem with Amari Cooper. I have him pretty much up there too. The problem is you have so many you have a lot of weapons, man.
Okay, two guys I don't trust, but they are feature backs. We're talking about running backs a lot because it can make or break the entire season. But for me, David Montgomery and Miles Sanders. Now, this Chicago team, if Fields is the starter, is going to be a better, more dynamic team.
Right.
But every time they say they're going to run the ball, they don't. And it's really something I don't trust about Chicago more than Montgomery.
Right.
And Sanders, to me, is like a Joe Mixon. He's a fucking mirage.
Yeah,
He has all the opportunities. He gets the touches. And at the end of the day, you're like, what did I get? I got nothing from this guy.
I think one of them. Okay, so here's the thing, though. I wouldn't want to be the guy that drafted one or the other ahead of the other. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If they're both on the board, I don't want to be the guy deciding which one I want. But I wouldn't mind grabbing the other one like a round later. Because I think you're going to get the same kind of player from both players. I don't know why anybody, I wouldn't reach on. But see, again, this is why you got to go running back first. So you don't want to be in this situation where you have to grab one of them as your running back too. None of these guys should be your running back too. That should be a third. That should be a flex at 28, 30. So yeah, I like your Harris better than both of them, by the way.
I am telling you, I think the opportunity plus the pedigree, I'm willing to gamble on it. And I was a guy that gambled on Saquon Barkley his first season. I think I took him number 3, his rookie season. I mean, I'm willing to, some running backs, I'm like, this guy, he's going to produce.
I think Fields is going to be a decent quarterback. I think Andy Dalton's going to be garbage. But I also think that with Hurts playing, I'm going to lean Miles Sanders over here now. I think about it because I actually think that when Hurts is out there, they're going to be doing a bunch of weird shit and stuff like that. And I think Miles Sanders will be getting a lot of I think they're going to run kind of like a college offense or something like that. So in that way, I would lean towards them. But again, you cannot be depending on either one of them as your second running back to win. That's your number 2 guy, either one of them. You better have both of them and another guy. But another guy who I think people are down on for some reason, which I don't understand, is I really like the Rams wide receivers, by the way. I kind of like Cooper Kupp, man.
Listen, I don't know who it's going to be.
No, that's true.
Because whenever you change a quarterback, erase the numbers, erase the tape. Who does he have chemistry with? Who does he learn to trust? Who does he decide that's my guy? And we don't know and won't know until the season really gets going.
Absolutely. And that's very true. But, that's why you got to start watching a lot more preseason. There was somebody in the preseason that caught my eye.
I watch all the preseason.
I love it. And who caught my eye is the Melvin Jones Jr. from the Jaguars. If you watch
Marvin, yes, I totally agree.
But did
Marvin
you watch
Jones Jr.?
You saw Trevor Lawrence.
Yes, Lawrence likes him. Right. I totally couldn't agree more. And I wish he hadn't said anything because he's one of my secret late round picks. But I think Marvin Jones Jr. is going to be a producer. I think it's a team that's going to have to sling the ball. Yep. And I think
they already have a rapport.
They already have a rapport. It's clear. He's trusting him down the field on the big fancy fucking shots. Oh, yeah. He likes Marvin Jones. I like Marvin Jones. And that division blows as far as pass defense. You can do a lot worse than Marvin Jones Jr.
You can. And that guy he might be on your bench. I mean, this guy's going way late.
Okay, let's talk really quickly. Two other RBs that we have to cover that I think are undervalued, that I think are going to have the opportunity to be very good. And they're Chase Edmonds and Mike Davis. I think they're going to get the touches. I think the opportunity is there for them to be very, very good.
I like Mike Davis. I mean, I'm trying to look and see where I have him up here. But yeah, no, I think I pretty much, let's see, what do I have, Mike? Yeah, he will have the opportunity. That's for damn sure. And who was the second one? I'm sorry?
Chase Edmonds out of Arizona.
Okay, Chase. Oh, okay. So I think I'm a little down on Chase, but I'll tell you, Mike Davis, yeah, no, I like him because he's Atlanta, right? Atlanta.
Yes, Atlanta. He's the guy in Atlanta.
He is.
Their other backups are like nobody. It's like no.
You're right. So I love that. I actually didn't even have him highly ranked, but now that I think about it, I mean, he's pretty much going to be Yeah, he's probably like RB2. He's going to get a shitload of carries on Atlanta.
I think so too. At least in the first half of games. In the first half of games, they're going to be feeding Mike Davis. I think he's got a great opportunity to really show what he can do. And I've always liked him. I've always wanted him to get this opportunity. Because I think it was with Washington initially. Yeah. And I was like, this guy's got spark, man. Let him have the ball. Yeah. And then Carolina, he showed up filling in.
Yes, that's the one I was talking about. So yeah, Davis is great. Only thing about Chase is what's his name is there, right? James Conner and shit like that. But I don't
James Conner. I mean, and he's one of those guys that could surprise everybody and have this resurgent thing. I don't see it happening. I think Chase Edmonds has the youth. He has the more health. And I think he's got the opportunity there.
Yeah, I agree. I think that when you're looking at that kind of section of running backs, you got to go with that. I think Mike Davis in that area is a slam dunk. Very good point. I like Mike Davis a lot.
I like Mike Davis a lot.
Yeah, I forgot how much volume he's going to get over there. There's nobody there.
Yeah, look at his backups. They're total fucking
total garbage.
He doesn't. I mean, James Conner is at least kind of a name. He's had a great season before, whereas he's got guys too. Undrafted free agents.
Yeah, exactly. 200. That's exactly right.
There's like two guys you never heard of and 2 undrafted free agents. It's like this is Mike Davis's job to lose. This might be the year that people remember the name Mike Davis.
Oh yeah. And I'll say another thing because I think I watched the Lions preseason. Another kind of sleeper is what is it, my boy Jamal Williams. He's in my I consider him opportunity knocks. I think DeAndre Swift, obviously, he doesn't, again, I don't believe in him. I think he gets hurt real easy. Yeah. And I think Jamal Williams, he's one of those guys, all he needs is the chance. Yeah. And he is going to blow the doors off. And I think once he starts, I don't think Swift threatens him for the job. And let's be honest here. Jamal Williams, I actually had Jones in a couple leagues, a couple years. Yeah. I hated Jamal Williams because his asshole was getting hella carries. So I remember him now. He's had a solid 4 years with the Packers.
Yes.
And I believe he left there to get that opportunity. And I don't think Swift is going to be the kind of caliber running back that's going to stand in his way. So I really like him. And I kind of, honestly, man, I like, we already talked about Gus Edwards, right?
Yes, a little bit. Yeah.
Super sleepy. And I like Javonte Williams for the Broncos too. Because I only know this because I was betting so much money on North Carolina games. And I don't know how much the college game will move in, but I remember watching this guy. Why would you bet on North? He had 22 touchdowns, bro. He had 22 touchdowns. The guy was betting these North Carolina games when he was playing Duke and shit. And the guy was just like, here's the ball. And it was like Superman fucking Flash running around. I'm actually, because he's one of my more favorite college players. I'm excited to see him.
I agree with you just based on what I saw in the first preseason game.
Oh, I didn't see that. Was he up and out?
He came out, looked fantastic. Okay, good. And all I kept thinking was, okay, Melvin Gordon hasn't looked good in 2 seasons.
Yeah, but
and Melvin Gordon is a guy. I mean, listen, they got rid of him for Austin Eckler. Clearly, this guy is replaceable. I think if he gets out there and he does what he's done the last 2 seasons, which is just run straight into the line and fall down.
Yeah, that will get.
I think
Javonte Williams does not do that, man. That guy's out, just a Speedy Gonzalez, man. And I'm only doing this because I'm rooting for him as a player too. But I might get a couple. I'm going to get a couple pieces of them only because I like watching them too.
No, I consider him a big time breakout because I really, my breakouts are Matt Stafford in a resurgent season, CeeDee Lamb. Obviously, everyone's talking about Tua, who people are down on Tua because he wasn't flashy, but he won games. What he didn't do was he didn't throw interceptions. So so he's risk averse. I think this year he opens the Jets a little bit more.
And he has weapons. He has way more weapons now.
Yeah, Brandon Ayuk, I think, continues to ascend over in San Francisco. Yeah,
I like him too.
I think he's fantastic. And listen, I think Debo is a bargain down low. Nobody's drafting Debo, but Debo it looked great in his first preseason game.
That's true. That's very true.
And Javonte Williams, I think he'll overtake that role by week 4 at the latest.
I really do believe that. I mean, I think I pretty much already nailed out the running backs that I really like as a sleeper, but I have two guys that I really like from the wide receiver, and that's here's a problem. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know who's throwing the ball in the Saints. I have no clue.
I think it's
know.
Jameis Winston. Based on what I saw, I think it's going to be Jameis Winston. So. I think Taysom Hill retains basically the same role that he's had of this quick gadget, goal line, roll around the end guy. Right. I think he's 6 plays a game kind of guy.
He throws the ball a lot. He's a gunslinger, and I like Tre'Quan Smith quite a bit over for the Saints too. So if he's starting, I think he's going to get himself some action. And also a guy that really carried me in a couple games last 2 years that was totally – Russell Gage had monster games here and there. And now that
here and there, and never the week you played him.
Never the week I played him. But, I'm a big ball. So I actually won, best ball?
Yeah.
I won a few of those. And I remember all 3 of the ones that I had was with Russell Gage. And by the way, there's no more Julio Jones. So
well, that's true. That's true. Maybe he gets more. If he gets more opportunity, he can be dangerous. But he was so hit and miss.
He was beyond hit and miss. Unless you enjoy, I enjoy the pain of sports. So I like guys like that. But if you want to, but I'm telling you, man, that guy's going undrafted.
Yeah, well, because his opportunities haven't been there. Maybe this is the year he shows up.
I think so too. And I'm not exactly sure where Jerry Jeudy is being drafted. I don't have an ADP on him, but he is
not very high because he really lost his mojo last season. I
don't like Sutton.
I feel like him with Ruggs. Those guys, they just didn't live up to the hype, and so the one guy was Justin Jefferson, and it's kind of like it's by comparison they look like shit, because it is because he went so bonkers, and Ruggs got hurt week 1, and he looked great. Which, by the way, talk about another sleeper. Ruggs has come back 20 pounds heavier in muscle.
Oh, that's pretty good.
This is either going to be very good or very bad.
Yeah.
He was running 4.36 speed or 4.2. He was lightning.
That's true.
And so now he's a lot heavier. So he's going to lose some speed, but I think he was worried about durability. I think that one hit, he was like, I can't even play the whole season because it's one hit first week. And so, it'll be interesting to see how this weight change plays out.
Yeah, I just think I don't think Sutton is the number 1 wide receiver. I think Jeudy with the second year, I think he's gonna be good, and he's going undrafted. So we're looking at extreme value over at the lower. That guy could be a wide receiver. He's going to be probably the.
I think this is the type of thing you got to watch and monitor in preseason and see if the chemistry's there.
It is so important. These preseason games as fantasy, basically, they're the lock into the future. At least you're gonna know who gets the opportunities.
Yeah, and that's what you're looking for. Where's the chemistry? Who's he looking for? And that's what's important.
I was actually big on the Pittsburgh wide receiver, but he just got hurt in preseason week 1.
Deontay Johnson?
Yeah. No, was it? I thought it was Juju. Was it Juju?
No, it was Chase.
It was
Claypool.
Yes,
Claypool was the one that got injured.
But
they're saying it's nothing. They're saying it's not a big deal and that he's already fine.
Oh, okay, good. Because I was watching that game and I was like, pretty disgusted at that because there's about 3. They have a wide receiving core over there. That's pretty deep.
I think it was Claypool that they were saying it turns out
Claypool sounds about right. But again, going back to that, man, I love Najee Harris. I'd rather get Najee Harris. Well, obviously, because his ADP is way better than the other 3 wide receivers, obviously. But that's probably going to be the only guy in fantasy football that you could 100% trust on that team.
Yeah, for sure, because he will get the touches. They've made it very clear. That's what they're thinking about him for. Now, a guy that, everybody's excited about Jamar Chase.
Right.
But they act like the chemistry between Burrow and T. Higgins wasn't electric before Burrow got injured.
Right, exactly.
Now, there's all this talk about Burrow's mental state with the knee and everything, and he's struggling with that, and that may play into the season. Or maybe he's just being honest and no one else was for the first time.
Yeah.
But between the two, do you like Jamar Chase? People are taking Jamar Chase over T. Higgins, and I think that's a mistake.
No, you got to take Higgins over. Yeah, it's just not. It's just you can't do that. You got to take Higgins. You can't just assume that this guy is going to be just.
But they played together in college, so there is a bit of pre-existing.
Yeah, I
chemistry.
totally understand, but this is a whole different game, and the coaches are going to be calling their own. It's a whole different coaching staff. God knows if they're even going to call his number. How are you going to know? The guy's not. He's also a second-year guy. He's not like a veteran that could say, "Hey, this is what I want to do," because it worked against
right. You're right.
TCU. You know, it's a whole different playing the Ravens today, buddy. So I just think, I'm assuming that they're going to switch it up. But listen, if you're talking fantasy football and you want to talk risk reward, I still think Higgins is the way guy, because I think Higgins is going to be totally fine. But why roll the dice on him for, like, I guess no apparent reason? If he does well, people always forget that you don't have to hit a home run every pick here. You know, you could go save a couple times, figure some stuff out. There's a whole season ahead of you. This guy might be on the waiver wire for all we know, in close. And you could always trade for these guys. So there's no need to go out there and be a hero every time. Just pick the safe guy that you know is going to get the opportunity, that at least have a pass with the quarterback.
Right,
so, yeah,
exactly. And T. Higgins already has an established electric relationship, which they thought it was going to be Tyler Boyd. It wasn't Tyler Boyd.
Oh, I know.
It was.
I know it wasn't Tyler Boyd.
It was not Tyler Boyd. It was T. Higgins.
Me, Wells Fargo, and my debit card knows it wasn't Tyler Boyd. We know Tyler Boyd very well. Tyler Boyd. Even though all signs are pointing to Tyler Boyd.
Now, a guy that I do like the idea of them having college chemistry coupled with opportunity is Jaylen Waddle, who everyone says was the real talent on that receiving core.
It wasn't even close. It was the guy. I mean, he was.
And now he's in Miami, who I think has like Will Fuller, who's like suspended, I think, and they have crap aside. I think the opportunity for Waddle, coupled with what should be, I got to see some preseason. Right. I got to see him and Tua, see if it's there, because if it is, I'm fucking grabbing Waddle.
Well, that's a different situation, though, right? Because we didn't see Tua really have any chemistry with anybody. At least with Burrow, we saw him with Higgins. So you can make that discrepancy. This is a whole different situation, and I do agree with you. That Alabama guy, he has a whole different body than the other dude, than the other guy that won the Heisman?
Devontae Smith. Although Devontae Smith's another guy that I'm like, you do watch out for him.
Oh, no, I have no problem getting him either.
He's another late round guy. I would take Javonte Smith and Waddle over Jamar Chase, personally.
I would too. I would absolutely do too. I actually think they're both better wide receivers though than him too, as well.
I think they might, but people are just, the hype is on Jamar Chase, and I think it's, the hype monster. We'll see what Zach Wilson does, because I think the hype monster created him too, and I think, to me, Zach Wilson is Darnold 2.0. He's going to flash arm talent. And you're like, look at that arm talent.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. I mean, I believe he's played 7-Eleven, Wendy's, and Burger King this year. I don't know. I can't remember who BYU even played.
And I believe he wasn't even a winner at BYU.
Yeah. And I want to say that the one big game he had was at Coastal Carolina, and he lost it. So I do not have any idea why this man has been so overhyped. Listen, I understand the other kid, the Trey Lance kid who played in Division III. I even get that more than Zach.
Totally.
He played against nobody, but he has a different kind of skill set that.
Oh my God, yes, he has the athleticism, the bullet. It reminds you of Josh Allen, with a little Mahomes.
But I mean, Zach Wilson did nothing. I have no clue. I mean, they were undefeated for the majority of the year, and then they had that one big game where they scheduled. They're like, hey, if you want to be in the play, we'll play anybody. And in Coastal Carolina, who's undefeated at times, says, come over here, bitch. And he went over there and they got a bitch slapped. I remember that too, because I had a lot of money on BYU. I didn't have to.
But see, it's those two idiots that do the college draft, analysis. For ESPN, the bird face looking dude and the young dude, and bird face. Every year,
Rick and Morty.
Exactly. He creates some high monster. He's like, he's got all the skill set. He's so great. He's going to be tough. And he did it with Darnold. He's still trying to sell Darnold. Yeah. He's like, Carolina's going to do what the Jets couldn't do. He's going to be, no, motherfucker, you were wrong. And you're wrong about Zach Wilson.
And here's another thing. What makes you think the Jets even have the capability of making a pick like that and being correct?
Yeah. If I was, it's a curse. It's like when you get, it's like, there, that's what you see. I told you. I listen, that's Zach Wilson. Let's see, maybe he'll prove us wrong, but I don't think so. And the Jets they're not built to just bring a quarterback in and be good. I don't even know what the fuck they're thinking. Like, why don't you just start from the ground up and get the linemen, get the defense ready to go, and then figure it out? But no, they can't even do that. They couldn't even keep a Jamal Adams during the rebuild. They had one of the best defenders in the game, and he's like, get the fuck out of here.
These guys
they did get really high draft picks for him, though. So for a team in rebuild, it may not have been the worst idea.
But what makes you think that they can rebuild? They haven't been able to rebuild shit for the last 15 years. Picks are not what you need. You need to go out there and get proven players.
They're like the city of New York itself in constant rebuild.
It is.
Now, when it comes to defenses, and people are always like, wait on defenses, but a defense can make a huge difference. We saw that, well, I think it was 2 seasons ago when the New England defense was like the number 4 highest scoring player most of the season in fantasy football. Mm-hmm. And so a really elite defense that scores points, can make a huge difference. Are there defenses that you think are worth it?
And by the way, you should explain to people that want to okay, so that is a very good way of putting it, because people always ask me, it's like, Denver has got a good defense and Washington has a good defense. Like, it doesn't matter how many times they're stopping the other team from scoring like in regular football.
Right.
It's
how many interceptions,
scoring.
How many sacks, which that's one of the things I like about Washington, because this Chase Young is a sack machine.
Oh, here.
And so I think they're going to be a very high scoring defense.
But listen, I think I'm pretty chalk when it comes to defense. I mean, I got Ravens 1, Tampa Bay 2. I do like England at 3. I do like the Rams at 4.
I like England too. I think New England is they're looking, they're falling to like 6, 7. And I'm like, they could be the number 1 defense again with all the players they got back that opted out last season.
Also the 49ers are kind of being overlooked. They have a pretty good defense. I'm not exactly sure how good they're at the ball hawking and situation. I think that might be one of the teams that I was kind of talking about. Like, they're good at keeping score down, but I'm not exactly sure who's going to get all those picks and sacks.
I'm not either. I don't see the names, so I don't know, how they're good. And especially with Robert Saleh now being the head coach, right. I mean, to me, he was kind of the motivator of that San Francisco defense. And I don't know whoever the new guy is going to be able to get them to be what Saleh was able to get them to be.
Yeah, but I like Washington. I even like the Denver Broncos defense too, kind of. But listen, at number 1, I don't know. I think the Ravens just has they're sack machines, man. They're just running. Yeah. All they're doing is blitzing you. I mean,
but the Buccaneers put together an all-star defense. That defense carried me to a championship in my legal record last year.
Wow.
I mean, they and I said it too. Adam Rank and I had this conversation who, by the way, Adam Rank is in our fantasy league this year. Yeah. So we're going up against the number 1 analyst on the NFL Network.
Yeah,
but also a very funny comedian and a great guy. But he was saying, get Cleveland, because people were dropping him in their late bye week. He was like, that's going to be, and I was like, see, people are going to drop Tampa Bay because they had like a week 14 and I was like, you grab that fucking defense if people drop them. I had them and they absolutely rocked it all the way out.
Yeah, I don't trust people that devalue defenses in fantasy football too. People just kind of pick the last one that's available in a draft, and I think that's a massive mistake. You definitely want to get one of the top 4 or 5 defenses.
I agree with that. You do. Yeah. It's like quarterbacks. You kind of, although there is so much depth at quarterback this year, but having an elite quarterback, Kyler Murray, I mean, these guys, some of them, really, there are values, obviously. I mean, when you look at Tannehill, you're just like, how can he not score points? Like, he's got to score.
Yeah. More depth in quarterback than defense, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but defense, exactly. Between the teams that are really going to put points on the boards for you and those that aren't, I agree. It's good to get an elite defense that you like. Kicker
is always my last pick. I always combo my kicker up with the quarterback.
I usually, what I do is I usually, if it's a 15 rounder, 13, 14 is where I'll put the, if I want to get a better kicker and defense right in there, 13, 14, and then make a 15 the flyer instead of waiting for the very end to make a kicker. Because again, there are certain kickers that are just going to see more volume.
Yeah, that's true. But I really like connecting it with my quarterback, because I like the fact that anytime my quarterback goes past the 40-yard line, I'm getting points.
That's true. That's very smart. And I never really thought about it that way.
Unless the kicker's a complete fucking asshole, which they have been in the past.
That happens. That's right.
You got to make a good judgment when you think about I've had actually times where I almost picked a quarterback that I had almost the same rating for, and I went with the other one because the other one had a better kicker, and I knew I was going to get that kicker. And it worked. Well, that's another thing. You should also look for coaches that can be conservative in that area too, not people that are just going to toss it. Some people might just run it and try to get and get a 46 or 45-yard field goal. That will.
And who do you think are some coaches that would be conservative like that? Who do you think?
Well, first of all, I think the Ravens, because the goddamn guy can't throw the ball. I mean, what are you going to do? If it's 3rd and 13 and you're at the 44-yard line or 43-yard line, what are you going to do? Tell Jackson to go back up there and throw the ball to the other team?
Absolutely.
And then you got Tucker back there who's going to, but there's a reason why he's the number one ranked guy going. So
exactly.
I mean, you could find other people down that. I haven't done my full research on the kickers yet, but I'm going to figure this out because you could find a massive edge on those situations where, who else is the guy that just look for coaches that do not trust their, like Aaron Rodgers and stuff like that. The coach is going to be like, go throw that ball fucking 12 yards. You're going to get it. Right. He just lost out on a 42-yard, guys like Jimmy Garoppolo, like the 49ers, who will get good position with a good defense. And they're not going to tell Garoppolo or Fields to drop back. I mean, those points add up.
Yeah. I think it's Robbie Gould again this year, too, and he's a good kicker.
Yeah, I like, yeah, of course. But the Chiefs is so hard to say no to because they are always going to be in a scoring position every time they get the ball.
No, that's true. Harrison Butker.
Mean, it's ridiculous. So
I like Matt Prater down there in Arizona, too.
I love it, dude. I think so, too. Yeah,
great kicker, and I think he's going to have lots of opportunity.
Me too.
And I don't know that there's, no, I could see them being a lot of throw that ball, it's Kingsbury. But
yeah, that's true.
I think he's going to have a lot of opportunity.
But I have two tickets on. I got a ticket on Packers winning the Super Bowl. I take value over us. So I got Packers and I got the Ravens at.
Well, I listen. I put 20 on the Cowboys every year because I'm a Cowboys fan. That's what idiot Cowboys fans do.
Yeah. What does that pay out? Like 1.2 million.
You're a jerk off. We're a perfect ending.
At least mine's 16-1. All right, I'm not throwing 16-1 is a fair number for those two teams.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Kabir, always wonderful to see you. Always great talking fantasy football. And let's get back together before week 1 and maybe do a set your lineup situation for week 1.
Sounds good. Count me in anytime. Always a big fan of the show. Can't wait to see you at the draft, and I can't wait to do the fantasy football with you, man. I'm excited.